Is it possible to hit your protein goals without stressing over every meal? Today, I'm going to show you the system I rely on daily, built around real food, simple meals, and food I actually enjoy. Let's get started. Hey, I'm Lacey, founder of Cleanish. I'm all about real food, real structure, and food freedom without the noise. I created Cleanish based on what I personally have gone through because I wanted something that actually works. I track most of my meals and I do weigh my food out most of the time. Not because I'm obsessed, but because once I started prioritizing protein, everything got easier. And having this system lets me enjoy my days off without losing momentum. So here's what that looks like. But before we dive into the meals, let's talk about why protein even matters. Because this is the piece that makes everything else easier. It helps control cravings and keeps you full longer. It supports fat loss and lean muscle, and it aids recovery and hormone balance. I also talk more about the value of protein plus 5 healthy protein fruit smoothies that I will share with you in the description below. Having enough protein in your day makes it so much easier to stay consistent and satisfied, especially if you're working toward health or body composition goals. But it can be hard to go from not thinking about protein to all of a sudden trying to hit 100 grams a day. I've seen so many clients try to fix this by just eating more of everything, thinking that that's gonna solve it and that's gonna get them there. But all it usually does is leave them feeling stuffed, bloated, and still short on protein and way over on carbs and fat. So prioritizing protein intentionally is what actually makes the difference. I aim for a minimum of 30 to 35 grams of protein per meal and a solid serving at snack. I track most of my meals and I weigh my food because I've found that that level of structure really helps support me and what I'm trying to do. But I've also built enough consistency that I don't feel rigid about it. And honestly, I could pretty much do it in my sleep nowadays. This breakfast has almost 60 grams of protein in there. It's kind of a big breakfast, but I'm hungriest at breakfast time, so I tend to put a lot of food into this, and then I have smaller meals throughout the rest of the day. For lunch, I usually have a smoothie. It varies on what flavors I do. Today, I'm doing a mixed berry one. And smoothies are a big win because you can just pack a ton of nutrients and protein in them. So this has like 35 grams of protein, and I was even able to sneak in some cauliflower rice for a little bit of extra vitamin C and vitamin K. And it's really easy to put together. I just make it, takes like 5 minutes to make, then I grab it and go back to work. And this isn't really protein related, but I also grab a little visual date that I absolutely love. I love having like a little sweet treat and like something to look forward to during the day. So for my snack, I'm having a yogurt bowl with a little bit of peanut butter and muesli and a little bit of blueberries. I'm actually using a non-fat yogurt for this today. I don't always use non-fat. In fact, oftentimes I will prefer a full-fat version, but because it fits in my macros and we have it on hand, I'm grabbing it today and it helps me have more fat in my other meals. This yogurt bowl has 15 grams of protein and is a nice snack to tide me over until dinner. This is a meal that I have for dinner most nights. I really never get tired of this combination of having like a meat, a starch, and a veggie. If I get tired of any of it, or if I run out of stuff, I know that I can swap things. So like for the rice, I could do sweet potatoes or red potatoes or quinoa. Or for the broccoli, I could do zucchini or whatever green beans or whatever veggies we have. And for the meat, I always have some sort of tilapia or ground beef or something available. So overall, my dinner has about 40 grams of protein in it, and I just love ending my day with it. I also track because I like to know what's working. I use it as a tool that I can adjust and assess as needed. I'm also a very task-oriented person, and so this is kind of like a game for me to rely on each day and make sure that I hit all my numbers. So if you are a task-related person, maybe tracking would work for you too. So finishing the day off with the macros intact is really just what makes me happy. And what matters most for me is that I've built these systems and habits that make hitting my protein goals second nature. So even when I'm not tracking, I have that foundation to stay pretty close. This might not work for everyone, and I know I have an advantage that I work from home and that I can just go to the blender or reheat meal prep in the microwave, or even cook on the stove. But it's about finding the structure that supports your lifestyle. But that doesn't mean you can't make it easier on yourself by preparing your food in advance and then reheating your food at work and organizing your meals into meal prep containers. That's what I used to do when I used to work away from home. And so you don't need to be perfect about this, but building that awareness and those repeatable habits, it's really gonna take you far. If you want a full day mapped out for you, grab my high protein meal plan linked below. And if you want more help, watch my video on the best cheap and healthy groceries to see some of my favorite low-cost protein staples. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.